With the pandemic playing havoc with business models of all industries, even the venerable community center has faced major challenges. Now, before we get into what are the success factors of a community center, let me quickly explain what a community center is. A community center is essentially a small shopping area with certain specified tenants catering to the community in the vicinity. It's not a usual destination mall, but it allows the community to come there to shop, to gather and mingle. The community center really offers great advantages to all stakeholders. First, to the customers. They get access to key products and services at a very convenient location and at pretty decent rates. From a tenant's perspective, it helps them cater to the community at large. The smaller tenants get greater face time, get greater exposure to a lot of the community at large. From a developer's point of view, the revenues and the incomes are very stable. The operating cost is quite low as compared to a major mall. And from a community perspective, it promotes employment and a place for regeneration. Now, due to the pandemic, a lot of the shopping has moved towards e-commerce. So community centers are facing some challenges, but they can still survive if they follow three key success factors. The first one is location. As I mentioned earlier, this is not a destination mall which is going to attract people from many miles out. So it's important that the location that a community center selects is well thought through. The catchment area dynamics need to be studied carefully. The micro markets need to be understood carefully to understand what's the socio-demographic profile of the neighborhood, what's the economic status, what is the preferences of the neighborhood. So a deep understanding of the micro market really helps a community mall developer set the right location. Another way that people are really an upcoming trend in this sector is actually to decide who your anchor tenant will be first and leverage the anchor tenant's location knowledge. Now, the anchor tenant is typically a supermarket, and supermarkets, as you know, tend to put new supermarkets in neighborhoods at a pretty quick rate. So they know the micro markets really well. So as a community center developer, it would make sense for me to engage with my anchor tenant, check with them, which neighborhood works, what the micro dynamics are, and then build there. So that's the first thing, location. The second thing is the value proposition. What is it that you offer to the community? If the answer is simply commerce, that's not a good enough answer, because people can shop through e-commerce, people can shop through other malls, mom and pop stores. Why will they come to you? So the value proposition needs to be very clear. What I believe a good way to look at the value proposition from a community center's point of view is to deliver three things: culture, comfort, and commerce. Culture, which typically means having curated options in terms of arts, crafts, some music events, anything that will lead to some gathering of people, get some vibe going in the community. So that's culture. Comfort is essentially food and beverage, not just any, but you promote local cuisine, get local chefs to do pop-up stores, do some tutorials, again, create a vibe, give them an experience. And finally, commerce. Of course, you do need to have a good mix of commerce, which is come and buy and sell. People can buy products, people can buy food and beverages. Very important. So that's the value proposition. Finally, the tenant mix. Tenant mix is very important because it needs to reflect what community you're serving. We need to understand which tenants historically have done well, and as importantly, which tenants have not done well. Basis that, we will be able to choose the right tenant mix. Now, it's always useful to have a healthy mix between product and service tenants. Product tenants are typically, apparels, supermarkets, anything that you can buy, touch, feel. Whereas service tenants are more your F&B, maybe salons, these kind of tenant, healthcare, this is really picking up, right? So you need a nice mix between products and services as your tenant mix in order to make sure that you drive footfall and traffic. So those are some of the key success factors which community centers really need to look at. With the pandemic's end hopefully in sight, we're all going to need some retail therapy. And I strongly believe that community centers would be well positioned to provide us that.